And we are live. Hell of a Show is live now. We are on Monday night, and we're about to have some fun with this show. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. This is going to be a fun show. I like to do panel shows on my shows with Hell of a Show, and occasionally we throw a topic in there that actually ties all the people that are on the panel all together. And tonight we're going to do that. Before we get started into everything, if you can let me know in the audience if you can see and hear me, I'd certainly appreciate that. I talk to myself enough at home, so I don't need to be doing that live as well. It just, kind of throws the roots out there that I'm truly and completely, utterly insane. No, I'm not so much. Am I? No, I'm not. Okay. So we've got Jay Burns is here. Jay says, so much sexy in one place. Now, I'm hoping you're talking about the entire panel and not just, right here, because if you're saying so much I'm drop dead sexy, then maybe we could, go with that. But no, I mean, I'm as close as it gets to that as drop dead sexy, and that's about it. But let me know if you can see and hear me, and we will get going, get those shares going out there so we can get more eyes on them and increase the voice of the indies, and we're going to have some fun. So we have got some people to bring up on here. And when I say some people, we've got a full panel for here tonight. And we've got some members of different publishing companies that are here from comic publishing companies. And we're going to start out with, let me see, who's not paying attention? Who's not paying attention? Anybody back there? Nobody picking their nose or anything? Really? This time? All right, so here, we're going to start with Travis Gibb of Orange Cone Publications. What's going on, Travis?
How are you, man?
I am doing great, man. I'm doing great. It's been a good Monday, and I'm looking forward to this show and getting y'all on here and kind of picking your brains a little bit.
All right, I'm excited about that too. It's you got a good panel here, and Jay's here, so there's a party.
There you go. Now we're gonna bring out. Let me see who else we got in here. We've got. Let's bring Scott up here. Scott. Oh, look. We got. See, there you go. I always get one.
Caught me picking my nose.
From the looks of it, you've been picking your nose for like the past 10 minutes while I've been up here talking, getting other people up here.
Looking for that treasure.
Now, speaking of treasure, how could you be up here without, your other side on here as well? We're going to bring up Alan's here too.
I'm your sidekick, Scott. You hear that?
Don't tell my wife.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, she'd be jealous. But hello, everybody.
Yep, it's Scott's version of Jake from State Farm right there, and Alan.
Yeah. What are you wearing, Alan?
Whatever you want me to, Scott. Whatever you want me to.
Oh, we're already going to hell, and we just got started. All right, let's go ahead and keep going on this one. First time to the show, and I apologize ahead of time for all of the shenanigans and everything that's going to be coming up here. And if you're easily offended, I really apologize for that. But I'm hoping you're not. I mean, you're friends with some of these other people, so you should be okay. But we got Garrett Gunn here.
What up?
What's going on, Garrett?
Not much, man. Just out here killing it.
I hear you.
In my basement. 10 p.m. on a Monday.
Fan of everyone here. Excellent. And that's what we like to see there. John Westhoff is here. He's excited about being here. Now, I know I'm missing one person on here. I am working on getting a new intro, especially for this one particular guest. And I'm not saying that he is special in a way that I'm trying to, make him special just because. But this is Mr. 15. And when I say 15, he has been a 15-time guest on Hell of a Show and numerous time guest on Unscripted whenever we had that one going. So Mr. 15, Tom Hutchison, welcome back to Hell of a Show.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it. It's gonna be a good time. I got my new star meme happening right here. We just posted that out on Facebook. Let everybody know that we're doing this thing. So nice. Hopefully we'll get some people to come hang out with us.
Nice. And apparently either Travis is having issues with his internet or someone up here is messing with him and keeps knocking him out of here. I don't know who it is. My hands are right here so everybody sees. I don't know if we can blame the new guy just yet. We'll be watching Garrett just to make sure.
It's all part of it. Yeah, I'm doing it on purpose for sure.
Oh, yeah. And Jay says, damn, you got Tom too. Yeah, exactly. Because, Tom never gets on any kind of online shows. He is a hermit. He never shows his face anywhere.
I never do anything.
Now, before we get into all the fun shenanigans that go along with this thing as we're going into it, we're going to kind of go round robin on this. We'll start with Scott and we'll end all the way around on Travis, who just came in. So Scott, let them know who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
What's up? Yeah, Scott, writer at Bad Bug. Got Periwinkle, Bobby Joe, Hypergeist, Undercity. What else? Dead End Moon. I also do some stuff for About Time Comics. So I got Red Scare over there and Legend of Everett Forge.
Nice. Alan, what about you?
Hey, I'm Alan Dunford. I have written some stuff for Bad Bug, but more recently I have been working with Garrett over at Source Point with Pocus Hocus and Grandma Chainsaw.
Oh, there you go. Look at that segue right there, straight into Garrett. Who are you?
What up? So I'm Garrett Gunn. I'm the chief branding officer of Source Point Press and the founder of Four Color Fiends, which is my imprint at the publisher. I write books like Good Boy, Little Red Ronin, Franklin and Ghost, Warcorns, Cold Dead Hands, a million other stupid things that Source Point's embarrassed to publish. And Facebook, Twitter, everything. I'm some writer guy. Because if you can't remember who wrote it, I don't know. It's probably some writer.
There you go. Tom, what about you? I mean, people ought to know enough about what you do and everything, but go ahead and remind them one more time.
Tom Hutchison, Big Dog Inc. Basically everything except the art side. Writer, publisher, art director, sales guy. I'm the one shipping the packages out. I make all the Kickstarters. I do all the things. I also, as you can see right here, I also hate everything. You'll learn that tonight in interesting ways, I'm sure. But I'm mostly known for writing stuff like Penny for Your Soul, Legend of Oz, The Wicked West, Ursa Minor, Critter, on and on and on.
There we go. And Travis, what about you, man? Go ahead and let us know who you are, what you do, and where to find you.
I don't even know if you guys can wild over here.
You're coming in like every third. You may have to go audio avatar on it.
Audio avatar.
Sometimes it happens. I mean, I've noticed the internet can kind of get buckled down a little bit, and if you go audio avatar where you don't use the video on there, it'll actually work a little bit better sometimes.
Just use your phone. There you go.
Yeah, you can use your phone. That's true too. But I mean, just to go ahead and let everybody know, Travis is here. Orange Cone Productions is what he works with there, and has several titles that he works within there. Coins of Judas is one of the big ones that comes to mind right offhand. Things that are going to that they're in stores, that they're actually being produced and put into stores on a regular basis as well. So he's very happy about that, and I'm sure he'll be glad to tell you about that whenever he comes back, and we can hear more than every third or fourth word on there. You'll definitely get the gist of how happy he is about this. But moving forward into kind of what we're going into tonight, of course, we've got a panel of publishers and people who are working underneath the publishing brand very closely. Scott and Alan are actually, I've tried to corner Mike and everybody at Bad Bug, trying to figure out who's in charge, and everybody just kind of points the fingers like that Spider-Man meme because nobody wants to take credit or responsibility for it. So I
was going to
on.
say, how do you avoid blame?
Yeah,
exactly. So I brought them on to go ahead and talk about it.
Oz, bro. Yeah.
So I know already that if you say something good about Bad Bug, Mike will take credit about that in the comments somehow, some way later on. But if you say something bad, he will definitely point those fingers as well.
Yeah, he'll blame that on me. Yeah.
But what is one thing that in the publishing business that you do and everything that makes it kind of, what's the biggest obstacle that you've had in building the brand as a publishing company? We'll talk about Bad Bug starting first on this one. So Scott or Alan, if y'all want to talk, go right ahead.
Want to take that one, Alan?
Yeah. So, I was there originally. I guess whenever everything happened, I think Scott, you kind of were too. But what Mike is just trying to do over there is just push out, I guess, just as many quality titles as he can. And then I guess just make his way in that way through, I think right now the plan is just to use crowdfunding as the primary platform just to get everything out.
Excellent. Now I got to ask you, Garrett, because Source Point Press has been making a huge movement out there, and I'm starting to see more and more of the books showing up in comic book stores. Y'all just got a I know I can say it because it was publicly put out there, but Global Comics. Yep. Y'all are officially in there, because I started getting all these emails with every single title y'all have, in an email. So I just want to let you know that I've got 50,000 emails I haven't gone through yet because they're all SourcePoint Press titles that have been added.
Yeah.
But how is it that you see? What is something that you see that's been a kind of a hindrance, something that you've had, an obstacle that you've come across, and a way that you got around it with SourcePoint Press and getting the brand out there?
I think that like one of the big struggles of comics is like that as many comic readers and fans as there are, like fan bases are very compartmentalized, and like distribution is very compartmentalized. And so like you can be the biggest name in crowdfunding comics and still be touching like 10% of the comic readership. So like the biggest struggle is finding out how to utilize different distribution and different sales channels to try and reach a bigger percentage of the market. I mean, the market share, if you look at publishers across the whole comic market share over every publisher, I mean, you got Marvel and DC who have 93% or 94% of the entire audience, right? Mm-hmm. And so as far as like ownership of the market. And so that last 6 to 7% is like what every other publisher shares. So if you think about comic readers and like how much all of us are all fighting for that 6%, like you've got to use every possible way you can to like get your books out there and like use different kind of distribution. That's the biggest struggle, is reaching people.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see where that would be a problem on there, because like you said, the big two actually have, they have buildings that are, they have one purpose in life, is to actually get all the marketing out there and own all of this networking stuff that goes out there and get it to all these eyes. And whereas with the indies, everything is done in-house. You have to figure out ways to get it out there and get it above and beyond the regular eyes that have already been set on there, and kind of change your mind on some things. Tom, I got to ask you the same thing. What's something that you've seen with Big Dog Inc., that's been an obstacle that you've overcome on there? Because you're on your 13-year, anniversary of Big Dog Inc. Is actually either now or coming up very, very soon. And you've been doing this for a while and had some time to kind of get those things and bounce off of them. What's something with you?
Yeah, except I basically rejected everything that we've done in the first 12 years and just said, fuck it, we're just doing it all over again in year 13, figuring out different ways. But I've been through all of it from 13 years ago. The market is not what it is right now. So all of the challenges and differences 13 years ago are similar, but not exactly the same as we have now. Now everything is so reliant on social media to get your stuff in front of people's faces. But all of social media doesn't want you to accomplish that. There's very few platforms that are like, oh yes, please, we'll show you to all of the people that have decided to follow you every single time you post something. It just doesn't happen. So the algorithm, the hated algorithm, is the thing that you kind of have to really try and buck as best you can. But oftentimes the only way around it is to have just direct contact with your audience, which is email lists and Comic Cons and things like that, so that you can actually just ditch the algorithm. Although they still have to open the email. Like you haven't opened any of Garrett's emails, obviously.
Yeah.
So they still have to click the button wherever they are to find you online. But at minimum, if you have some control over a direct feed to your audience with like email lists and stuff, that will help you in the long run. And then that's the old funnel thing that they talk about, right? The bigger the top of your funnel, the bigger the bottom of your funnel. So you're not going to get everybody every time, but the more you have coming in, the more you'll be able to funnel down at the bottom.
And that makes perfect sense on there, because if you don't ask, if you don't put it out there in front of so many eyes out there, then you're never going to have people who are going to lock into it that would have no idea it even existed. Your regular followers and everything is one thing that you've got in the funnel, but you always want to open up that bottom part of it as much as you do the top on there. So that's a great analogy on there, putting it with the funnel.
Yeah, but even with people that know what we do, and when they know regularly, they're regular fans of mine, they still come into my Kickstarters on like day 25 out of 27 rather than day one. Like I'm still not getting all of these guys to be like, dude, just come in day one. We're here. Just do it and help us get that first, super day one. And they're just like, oh, I didn't even know it was happening. And it's, there's 3 days left and they've
Right.
joined. And it's great that they've joined, but it's like, oh my God, we're still struggling to just get that basic message of come in on day one, because it helps, again, the algorithm, that huge crowdfunding pop. If you can get that gigantic first day, it can change a lot of things for you.
Exactly. Now, Travis, I know you just come back in. I did a short intro for you to kind of cover, while you were gone. If you want to go ahead and let everybody know, who you are, what you do, and where to find you, we can go ahead and go off of yours, because I'm sure yours is going to be a lot better than mine. Maybe.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh, you were having trouble with internet over there.
Travis needs to go down to the local McDonald's.
It
and
was
use their
so good.
internet.
Travis, you might want to definitely try where you only have audio only and not video. It may be drawing too much on there for right now.
Reboot the router.
Right?
Or feed the mouse and the wheel every once in a while. That helps too. I mean, sometimes it happens, and we're talking about obstacles and how to get past those things, and we're seeing an obstacle right now, and the show is still going past, so we're doing great on that. Travis is not one that I definitely want to skip on, so if I don't get him on here tonight to discuss, I will be getting him on a future show very soon, because I've been looking forward to picking his brain on some things as well. But kind of moving forward now, and what we're talking about, we've already mentioned about crowdfunding on here. I want to talk about how it actually impacts the brand itself, of your publishing company and everything, on crowdfunding versus not crowdfunding. If you're finding something on crowdfunding that actually works better, or if you're finding something online on your web store or something, what works best in that? This time we're going to start off with Alan on this one and find out what exactly, what do you think on this? What are your thoughts on crowdfunding within the brand of publication?
I mean, it's an easier way to talk directly to the company itself, I feel, or it's just an easier way for you to speak one-on-one with the writer, because it's a very unique experience that crowdfunding has that you don't get at a comic shop, where you actually can get that one-on-one thing with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm catching up because we had a bunch of people come in all of a sudden in the comments over here. So I want to tell everyone, thank you for being here on the show. We're going to go ahead and show a few of these on here. Geek Collective is here. Appreciate you being here as well. Caleb was in here. We just brought his up here. We've got Jay talking out here. Poor Travis. Exactly. Like I said, we're definitely going to get him back on a future show. Don't worry about that. I will get him on here. We will pick his brain for certain. And Caleb, that's because no one else concerned the Unicorn Vampire or cornered the Unicorn Vampire Hunter and Vampire Detective in Space market like you have. Oh yeah, I mean I've had I've had Caleb on here talking about that as well. And Tim Ingram is here and says, "Hey yo, all right." And Don Walker, see, we got all kinds of people jumping in here. This is great. All right, so with crowdfunding, going into, and you're using that as a publisher as a tool on there. How big of an element is it as a tool that you're using on there, and how much do you try to use off of that, or do you kind of try to back burner and then use it whenever you need it? How does that work with that? Garrett, I'm going to ask you this one.
Yeah, I mean, so the big thing about crowdfunding is that like there is such a stigma around the idea that like crowdfunding exists as I'm aspiring to make a thing, and like I just, please give me your dollars so that I can produce my first ever thing. And like that's not really what crowdfunding is anymore. Crowdfunding now is more of a pre-order like sales launch platform. Mm-hmm. And like like Tom was saying, like it's the most direct access from creator to consumer. The current state of comics distribution is troubling, to put it nicely. And I have many friends that own shops, and I will always support comic shops because they're the backbone of the entire industry. But there's no longer a world where that can be your sole source of selling comics. So for us, crowdfunding is, is a main pillar of publishing. Like having there's the success of a book like Good Boy happened because we launched an IP through crowdfunding, garnered a following, and then that following went to their local comic shop and told other people about it, and then we sold a ton of copies through comic shops. If we had done it the other way around, it would have been a very different result. So these days, I mean, we've talked about, you know, certain projects exclusively existing on crowdfunding because we want to keep them, you know, direct to consumer, and we want it to be like a thing that is special, like a special launch or a special product between like us and the reader, you know, versus like the disconnect of traditional distribution. So it's huge.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I definitely agree with everything that you're saying on there, because it's a process that it has to go through. You can't just go out there and say that I'm going to get the following off of a crowdfunder that's going on there. Like you said, you've got to go ahead and build. It's got to be a building block to get to that point, and you got to have the following push your product after.
Yeah.
It just be you pushing your own product. You got to have people that are going out there saying, I want to see this in the stores now. This
Yeah.
did so well out here, and I was such a huge follower. I want to see
Yeah.
it over here.
Yeah.
All right, so let me see. And I'm sorry, Travis is still trying to come in here. I'm trying to work on it. I am. But Scott,
This
I'm
is
going
some
to
sort of weird power play he's trying to
Yeah.
pull.
I know, I swear. This is
I'm
not,
too much bandwidth for the show.
this is definitely not a conspiracy. I want to throw that out there right now. No one can hit me with that later. But Scott, I want to ask you, you know, as far as Bad Bug is concerned, you know, what is some way that they look at it with the crowdfunding, and how much do they see that it's been a help to building the brand and getting it to where it is now and still continuing to evolve?
I mean, truthfully, Bad Bug wouldn't exist without it, right? I mean, we exist because of it. I think Bad Bug too. You know, our titles are a little more. I mean, you know, amongst us, we all have obscure titles, but I think Bad Bug really dives deep into that pool. So it'd be tough to really get that to convey that out, you know, amongst the real world. I think the way Mike designs our Kickstarters too, I have to give him one compliment per podcast in my contract. But the way he designs them, I think too, it's a great way that to sell them. I mean, we're in the digital age, we're in a TikTok age. People, you're going to get about 15 seconds of someone's attention span, if that even. So the way we front load everything with information, the spectacle, the gifts, all that kind of cool stuff. The platform serves itself to that kind of benefit. So yeah, I mean, again, I haven't been to a con. My first con's coming up for Periwinkle, so that'll be my first foray into the real world. But as far as Mike, I know I think he's had some decent success with Bad Bug out in the amongst the cons. But yeah, without Kickstarter, we wouldn't be here today. So
Awesome. That's a great way to put it, is to show that that's the foundation came from on that. And that leads directly into going straight to Tom on this one, because Tom, you didn't have that foundation of crowdfunding to build Big Dog Inc. to where it is now, and you still pull off of the other, you know, the other branches that are out there of things that you have available. What is something that you've noticed as far as dealing with crowdfunding that it's been either a big help to you, or it's something that you can very easily set on the back burner and go back to, you know, something else that you've been working on that's worked very well?
Crowdfunding is creator owned and independent comics, period. It is where everyone should be starting, and if you're not using it and you've been around doing it for a while, you need to be using it. When we started 13 years ago, Kickstarter didn't even exist, or maybe it was at its infancy as well. We did it the traditional way. We made comics, we sent them to Diamond. Diamond said yes or no. Then they put it in previews. Previews went to retailers. Retailers said yes or no, and we sent them books. And then we did it again. And we did that for 4 years on our own. And then we partnered with Aspen. They became our publisher for 3 years. And when we left Aspen, it was our 7th year in the industry. It was basically decision time. It was, okay, do I just say I'm going back to Diamond and we'll just be Big Dog Inc. again? Or do we make an attempt at using this new crowdfunding thing and see what it does for us? And that was my decision. I was like, I'm going to launch Penny for Your Soul, brand new book. We're going to sort of rebrand ourselves through crowdfunding with the book that we launched originally 7 years prior. And I was told I was crazy. I was told it's not going to work. I was told you can't do subsequent issues 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 because attrition would destroy you. And I told that guy, watch me do it. And that's exactly what we did. The interesting part about crowdfunding is that attrition is almost non-existent unless you are terrible at what you're doing with crowdfunding. Attrition exists in large quantities in the retail market. You're going to sell 3,000-4,000 units of your number one. You're going to sell half of that on number two, and so on and so on. That's just automatic. But in crowdfunding, you can actually go the opposite way. So with Penny for Your Soul, we sold, I don't know, it was about $16,000 or something on the first campaign. The second one was about the same, almost identical. And then when we got to the end at number 7, we were at 35,000 and selling to 600. No, it wasn't 600. It was like 500 backers. So from like 200 to 500 backers. So we had no attrition. We actually, in fact, grew the brand through Kickstarter. And we're selling fewer units. You know, we used to sell 3, 4, 5, 7,000 units at retail. But when you're selling that thing at $1.50 is what you get for 4,000 units, is like, who cares? That's not anything. You're still chasing money on the back end, doing variant covers and selling extra back issues at cons and so on. So the traditional methodology, like Garrett just said, does not work. You have to treat that in a way that it is almost essentially like a marketing expense, because you're probably not going to make much money, but you are going to get eyeballs. You know, the retail comic book world still has eyeballs. Retail stores still have eyeballs. And I'm talking a lot, but there's a lot of information here. One of the examples I use is Brian Polito, right? When Brian Polito came back, similar to us, he was like, I'm going to go use Kickstarter. So he started and he did really well with Kickstarter. He did well and he grew it. But he reached a point after 2 years where he went back into Diamond. And you can track his sort of progress. And when he went back into Diamond, he had a huge spike of backers come to Kickstarter. And that's because the eyeballs are, in fact, at retail stores still. And they were like, oh, Brian Polito's still here? Lady Death is still here? And they came and found out what he's doing on Kickstarter. And now it's gangbusters. Now it's $400,000 campaigns and 3,000 backers, and it's bat crap crazy. So all of it can work together. But I really think that for any indie creator, even if you've been around for a little while, I mean, Billy Tucci does it, you know, he does crowdfunding with She and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of people that have been around doing it. They're using crowdfunding now as the starting point for everything else that they do. And I think that's going to be the new norm.
All right. Now, nobody move. I think that Travis is back. No sudden movements. We scare him away. Travis, are you back?
I think so. I only am fighting so hard because Garrett laughs hysterically. You're the asshole friend who's like
Absurd asshole friend
on the chick at a bar.
I bet Travis is coming up with the best insult that he's ever given anybody.
And we hear every third word.
Yeah.
I'm buffering.
Tell your insult in threes, Travis.
I'll catch the rest of that joke when you come back.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh, but that was great because, like you said, every third word was a part of it, and that was just the best insult line that he was putting together on there, and we didn't get it.
The whole time he unplugged his router and plugged it back in, he was writing this down. He's like, when I come back on here, Garrett's gonna get it.
Timothy says Travis router is a potato. Wow. See, Timothy, he didn't like what you said. You're in trouble now. Oh boy. But I mean, you make great points and everything that's going on with what you said and how that crowdfunding works and how it has to be, you know, set up the way that it is. And you can't just focus on that you want to come out there and just grab those numbers as soon as you come out just because it's your birthright. It doesn't work that way. Anybody who is new has to understand that. I mean, I'm about to have my first one, and I'm sure not coming out here going, that's it. I'm hitting those numbers as soon as I come out here. I'm not going to fool myself on that. I would like to just have it where we at least, you know, fund, and I'll be happy, you know, with that kind of thing.
Well, yeah, there was a survey or something that came out, a study that said something to the effect of less than 20% of campaigns make 5 digits in their campaigns. So, it's something to think about, but that doesn't mean that you can't come in and start low and build. Cause I've seen plenty of guys come in and they're doing 1,000, 2,000 on their campaigns. Next time they're doing 3, next time they're doing 5, and they just keep building it up. So it can be done.
I just had to go back the other day and look. The very first Kickstarter I ever ran, I had like 30 backers and I raised like $3,000. And I think my parents gave me like 1,500 of it, like the last day, because like I was like afraid it wasn't going to fund.
Man, no, that's Kickstarter 101, dude. Like whenever you have your first campaign, your family's like, "Oh, how cute!" Garrett, Scott, and Tom, they're all just making a little comic book, and then that's where like half your funding comes from.
Yeah.
But where the cool part is when you launch like an issue 2 or your next one, and you don't recognize a name on it. That's when you're like,
the
"Hey,
very first,
we're doing something okay."
Yeah, that's a huge thing. Or like you get people that like just find it on their own, like you didn't advertise it to them, and they're like, dude, my buddy sent me this, like this is such a cool comic, like I just backed it, and I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like I don't even know the person you're saying that said referred to.
Yeah. But yeah, that is the coolest thing whenever because I don't know if everyone else experienced it, but issue 1 was a lot of friends from like high school, right? And your relatives giving you money and stuff like that, like large sums of money that you wondered where it was at for Christmas, but they're still giving it to you on this comic book campaign. Yeah,
they didn't buy you a PS4, but they were ready for you for your comic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like on my end. I haven't gotten my inheritance yet, so I'm just hoping that at least will get thrown into the first one. No, but I mean, we've got a good feeling for what goes into with the publication side on how everybody feels with the the crowdfunding and with dealing with obstacles and things like that. The next thing I want to talk about is the evolution of your brand, and we're going to go round robin on this one too. But I have this one kind of set up differently because we're actually going to show some of the artwork and some of the logos and stuff like that along with it as we go along. And the first one we're bringing up is this one here that's called Bad Bug. Now, first off, I just want to let everybody know, don't confuse this with, because they call it Bad Bug. It's like, okay, then if it didn't take that much thought process into this, with the name and everything, how's the stuff going to be with that? It's kind of got a simplistic thing on there. It does, but it doesn't. There's a lot of dual meanings in everything that they do. Don't get me wrong. But in their title alone, this tells how much passion they put into their work that's going in there. So you definitely want to pay attention to what's going into Bad Bug on this. Scott, go ahead and let us know, as far as with Bad Bug is concerned, what I want to bring up with this one is the evolution that y'all have had to go through with this, because I've noticed that there are things that y'all will put out there, and then you'll have something else that'll come out, and there'll be something along the lines of the fans wanted this, or they thought of this idea, or they wanted to bring this to life. How much do y'all put into the evolution of building the brand and listening to the fans on that?
Very much so. Mike, he posts quite a bit, feeling out the fans and seeing what they want. So that's kind of how a lot of these latest titles have come to be. Like Bobby Joe, there was a want for an Appalachian hottie to take on some type of beast of some sort. It originally was a vampire, but we tweaked it a bit. So we are very in tune with the fans, very in tune with the Substack team group that we got. So yeah, we're very much listening, and we definitely want them to be happy as well. So constantly, and then Michael rapid fire in the group chat, like 3 ideas he's got based on his observations from what the people want, and he'll be like, who wants this one, who wants that. So that's how I got my hands on Bobby Joe. But yeah.
Nice. And I'm going to show some other artwork back behind here as we go along as well. This, of course, is for Roseblood Manor, issue number 2. It's an anthology that has different, stories and things that are in there. But one thing that I want to bring up, and this is part of that evolution, and this is the reason that I brought up this question starting with you, is that particular cat right back there, the 2-headed cat. That was not a main part of anything that was going on with this. And if I remember correctly, Mike said that one of the artists just happened to draw it as an add-on. He thought it was kind of cool. He kind of put it out there to other people, and then whenever it came out, to Kickstarter, they really, went to it very well, and so much that it's like the mascot of this particular brand. What is it with the cat, and make sure that it shows up, in these different things as well? Is that showing part of the evolution on there as well?
With much of Bad Bug, half the time I don't know what the hell is going on, where these ideas are coming from. But that was Summer's idea. She just drew a two-headed ghost cat. Mike, it tickled Mike, so it became part of the lore. It just seems kind of like that's how a lot of things fall. Like I'll come into the group chat at some point and there's just a two-headed cat hanging out. I'm like, okay, we'll roll with it. I mean, it's a cool concept, and it really has, because we're currently developing issue number 3. And I'm happy to see that we're bringing in some new writers outside of Bad Bug for that issue, and so far all the stories have incorporated the ghost cat, and I'm loving that. It's taken on a life or unlife of its own, however you want to look at it. But yeah, it's just stuff like that. It's just, we have that amazing chat with artists like Summer, who's a genius, and she, really helped redirect issue 1. And we just have a really great roundtable. Alan's in there, and just the things we come up with as we kind of just spitball ideas. It's great, and it's a blast, and we're up till the wee hours of the morning trying to keep up with Mike's time. But yeah.
So what is the deal with Roseblood Manor? Because I know that's something different than y'all have been working on up to this point. It's the first anthology under Bad Bug, correct?
Yeah. And we were hesitant to touch the anthologies. I mean, you throw a rock, you'll hit one. So what we wanted to do was something different. And Mike really wanted to do a haunted house type tale, but the house that it transcends time and space itself. So it can shapeshift. It can be a town. It could be, a video rental store. It could be whatever it needs to be to hunt its prey. But just beyond that premise, we wanted to make the anthology a bit different with the inclusion of a frame narrative. So there's the main story, which is, a horror story. And then we build the 3 additional shorts into each. We build the 3 shorts into that frame. So this number 2 is what you're looking at here. The frame narrative is about this young girl in the 1950s. It's her first night at an insane asylum. She's a nurse, and she's being chauffeured around or shown around by the main doctor, Dr. Evelyn Roseblood. So, and then through each patient, we see the 3 short stories that are written by Alan, amazing Alan. I have one,
you.
and then Jason Pell as well. He's a genius. So, and this is the short that I did for that. The first time I worked with Joel Souza. Since we set it in the 1950s, the first thing that kind of jumped to my mind was like an Archie's type style vibe to it. So, he's got the perfect artistic kind of style for that. So mine's about an encyclopedia salesman that goes insane, which, who will want to read that?
Exactly.
Like encyclopedia salesmen do.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, and it's very cool because it's got a different perspective and different story and different artwork, and the whole thing is just it's a mesh that's thrown together that works. Like you said, there are so many anthologies that are out there. You have to do something different to get different eyes on there, and it's a beautiful thing as well. But it also has a story that ties together going through there.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings up into my next thing that I want to bring up is I'm going to go to Alan on this one, because Alan, you worked on a project that started over there in the Bad Bug side and then evolved, see what I did there, over to the Source Point side here. So this kind of ties into both of y'all for the most part on this one, is Grandma Chainsaw, because that I started out as it was going to be a fun thing to do type thing, horror of course, but it was fun, see how far you could push the limits. And then you got a very good sized following off of this, to the point where you've got issue 2 is going to be popping here in about 2 or 3 weeks, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're already in pre-launch. We're looking to launch the first week of April.
Nice. Now with Grandma Chainsaw, what is something that you saw in there that really had a feel for it that you wanted to take and make sure that under the publishing, realm that it was going to a Source Point Press, that they were going to go ahead and hold on to this thing and really push it out there and get more eyes because you felt that it had the following on it?
I think my sheer stupidity with the idea was a huge draw point for it. Um, and the fact that we don't play it straight, because I think we would have missed the point of the book if, with a name like Grandma Chainsaw and the premise, if we would have taken ourselves too seriously. So yeah, I shot it over to submission for Source Point, and they picked it up, which I was really I was worried about it at first, because it's like I was afraid I was going to send it over. They're going to be like, "What the hell is this?"
And by
No.
that he means he sent it to submissions, and then Dave Lentz was like, "Garrett, look at this book." And I was
Okay, I didn't know it made it that far.
just sign it.
Yeah.
Like, just the title alone, I hadn't even seen any art, and I was like, "Sure, yeah,
Yeah.
we'll take it."
Yeah. And it does. I mean, even the title alone just gets it to where you don't even have to see the artwork at the time going, I like where this is already going. I mean, it would have a 50-50 shot of, once you get it going, this could have really gone a lot better, or you're like, wow, this is more so than the title even put on here, and it really hits. And that's what you're able to get through Source Point Press now with that. So
listen,
congratulations on that one.
This is meant to be a compliment, but it is some real dumb shit.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And,
yeah, I stand with that.
And it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like it's just, yeah.
Yep.
It didn't take much convincing.
Yep.
And that is great. I mean, that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to, as well as issue 2 coming out. And of course, it is under Source Point Press. And that's why we have Garrett here tonight to talk about this as well. And yes, I did plan it to where we had Alan here, because he works under that banner as well with some titles. But we're also going to go ahead and talk about something a little bit different tonight, because it's not just Source Point, but it's this particular.
My boy right there. That's my son, bro.
There you go. There you go. I mean, this thing is starting to show up in a few other areas out there, and people are kind of looking at it going, what is this? Where did this come from? Who's running this? And then whenever you find out, you're like, what is going on? What is this that's moving around here? So Garrett, let us know what's going on with this particular logo and the change on this.
Yeah. So when I mean, years ago, I was just a writer for Source Point, and I was writing way more things than I probably needed to have on my plate. And when I ended up sort of my company, so Source Point acquired my company, which at the time was called Last Wolf Legion. And when they bought Last Wolf Legion and sort of brought all those IP, like brought all that IP into Source Point, they quickly realized, like, oof, we got to find a way to like segment some of this shit off, because this is like all the people that are buying our normal books. This is some wacky shit. So they wanted something that was like easily identifiable as like, hey, these are like the troublemaker kids that are here, like making all of the books that are probably shouldn't be being made. And the idea behind, I saw a piece of art from Kit Wallace, who drew Good Boy and a million other things, just does covers for Pocus Hocus and Grandma Chainsaw, and does stuff with Whatnot and everything else. And Kit has this wonderful habit of like, he like goes and gets pissed at the pub and like draws like garbage sketches like on like menus and stuff. Mm-hmm. And like we'll throw them away. And I'm like, bro, stop throwing this stuff away. Like, send me a picture. I want to see what this stuff is that you're drawing. So he had drawn this like this rabbit character head that is like his logo for all this stuff. And I was like, God, I love this logo so much. I was like, but I wish it was a little more like fiendish. Mm-hmm. And he sent this back, and I was like, oh my God, I love him so much. So the Fiend became sort of our mascot, and it started as sort of a joke between me, Christy Blanche, Dave Lentz, and Kit Wallace. As like, we called ourselves the Four Color Fiends, and it was like our little group chat we had on Facebook. We still have it to this day. Like, and it was like where we talked about production of books and all these other things. And I finally took it to Source Point and said, hey, I've got this idea. I want to make an imprint that's just, you know, the four of us, our books, all the wacky shit you guys are embarrassed by. I want to put it all under one banner, you know, behind this Fiend. Mm-hmm. And somehow they agreed. And they were like, sure, come up with like some branding packages for it and different stuff, which, you know, when you're the chief branding officer, was pretty easy to do. So I did. I built a brand package for it, submitted it to the company, and they loved it. And well, I don't want to say loved it. That's maybe a strong choice of words. They
They didn't
tolerated it.
shut it down.
They didn't say no.
Yeah, there you go.
And so then we started to, slowly started to build it into this idea, that was more about, for a long time, for the first few years I was making comics, I was trying to make the comics that I thought were going to sell well.
Mm-hmm.
I was making comics because I thought I was making the things that would, move the needle or that the current audience wanted. And I eventually just got so tired of it and didn't care that I started to make books that I just wanted to make, and that I didn't care if anybody bought. And as soon as I started doing that, everything changed. So Four Color Fiends was just supposed to be a fun group of kids. It's like, yo, we just want to make comics. We just want to make cool shit with our friends, which is like our slogan.
Mm-hmm.
When people are like, what are you trying to get out of comics? So we're just trying to make cool shit with my friends, man. That's all it is. So the Four Color Fiends was that. And for a long time, there wasn't anybody else allowed. It was like this cool little clubhouse we had. And then Dave Lentz told me, he was like, are we ever going to have anybody else's books in Four Color Fiends? And I was like, I don't know, man. I would be really picky. Like if we were going to let anybody else in this group, just because I liked the people that I worked with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like a lot of people in comics. So he was like, well, there's this idiot that I know who makes these books. You should check this out. And he sent me Pocus Hocus. And I had known Brian Belando's work because I had worked with him previously. And I instantly was like, oh, the fuck, that's Brian. I was like, the artism. So I don't need to know anything about the art because Brian's a god. And I was like, I was in a really shitty mood the day that he sent it to me. And I picked it up and it made me chuckle. And I was like, this is really funny. This book is clever. And I told him, I was like, yeah, have him send me more. Like, I think it's great. And it started with that. And then it started with Grandma Chainsaw, like, which I only need to see the title and like the first picture for. But, like, as far as the evolution of our brand, Source Point started as like sort of a punk rock indie horror publisher. And it was like, yo, we're going to do 70 conventions a year and we're going to spend every weekend at multiple shows across the United States. And that worked for a very long time to build us, until we eventually got into Diamond and got on FOC and got into crowdfunding and doing all these other things. And I think the thing that we're sort of doing this year is like, this is our 10th anniversary this year, and the theme of this year is hone your focus. We're going to stop making as many comics as we can with as many people as we can, and we're going to start kind of making the shift that I made years ago, which is we're going to start making the comics that we want to make. We're going to make cool shit with our friends.
Nice.
And we're going to get back to some of our horror roots, and we're going to get back to our horror roots, and we're going to, take some bigger chances with books. I am the first to admit that I am what I call an ethical deviant. And this book that you're showing right now, Murder Bukkake, is my first lean into that. So this is the evolution.
You're not dipping your toe into it.
No,
yeah.
I never do anything. Listen, Ron Swanson once told me, you don't half-ass two things, you whole-ass one thing.
Yep.
Like this, in another life, I would have loved to have been a porn director. And despite how many times people say it's not too late, it probably is. And this book is my first venture into that world, and I fucking love it. There's very few things I get to, like, when I make a thing and I get giddy. Like, I don't get giddy a lot. Do you see this face? This isn't a face that is giddy often. This book makes me giddy as fuck. Like, it's so ridiculous and stupid, which is what I strive to for everything I make. So it's going to be amazing. It's our very first X-rated comic book. So it's going to be awesome.
That is going to be cool. Now, how does that work within the publication brand on that? Are they, of course, this won't be in stores underneath the brand, correct? This is going to have to be something totally different the way that you're doing it.
It will be in stores through Four Color Fiends, but we're labeling it as Four Color Freaks. So we made we altered our logo a little bit, the Four Color Fiends logo, and made a Four Color Freaks, which was got 18 and up, mature content, XXX. But as we've sort of transitioned into more of a direct to retail, direct to consumer approach to everything. We went to Comics Pro a few weeks ago, right? Which is, the biggest collection of, comic retailers. And they all sit down and you do these round tables where all the retailers come around and, tell you what you're doing wrong, tell you what you're doing right, how you can better help them as a retailer, what you can better offer to their customers. And there's a growing desire for, direct content from the publishers, because retailers are tired of dealing with a bunch of shit that they have to jump through. And one of the things that we got a lot was we want more mature content. And we're like, well, yeah, we make mature content. Like, we've got, this title and that title. When they're like, no, like explicit content. We have a lot of demand for readers who want very mature, explicit content. And I, off the cuff, pitched Murder Bukkake to a couple of people, and they were like, this is fucking awesome. Like, are we going to be able to display this? And I'm like, well, a bunch of the covers are like graphic fucking. I was like, so we're going to put them in poly bags and stuff. And they were like, love it. 100%. They're like, anything in a poly bag, we sell 10x of other stuff, just because people want to know what's in it. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be in stores. That's for sure. I've got retailers already email. The book hasn't even launched on Kickstarter yet, and they're emailing me asking when they can reserve their poly bags.
Nice. That is awesome.
It's a good feeling, man. It's good.
And it's definitely cool to see again, we're going with the evolution, that's going on with this, and that's definitely an evolving process right there from Source Point, adding that in to there as well. And like you'd already mentioned with Pocus Hocus, being brought in as well, because it's a very fun series that's on there. I'm trying to think of the exact
dumb. Dude, I strive to be dumb, so it all kind of works out.
You could say dumb. Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's like a roller coaster ride. It really is. I mean, the entire series thus far, the 4-issue arc or 5-issue arc that's on there is actually just, you go through this thing and it draws you in, and it won't let you go until you're done reading. And you're kind of sitting over here beating your fist against the desk going, I want more. I can't get away from this. And I don't know what it is.
Fist against the desk with that one and beating something else with Garrett's book. So
yeah. Let me go ahead and put the official statement out there. I can neither confirm nor deny that statement.
Oh shit, Travis is back. Did you get all the cottage cheese out of your router, bro?
Yeah, everything is working. And I got to tell you, I wouldn't work so hard to get back on a show. I would normally just go to fucking bed. But Garrett, I kept seeing him laugh. And it reminded me of the times when I was younger and hitting on a girl when I was too drunk to be hitting on a girl. And there was always a guy like Garrett mocking me. And I would just hit on that girl until I fucking scored and be like, I'm going home with the bitch. So I'm coming back, going home with the bitch.
Wow. I would say that maybe was why you were unsuccessful. Saying you're going home. Probably a little bit to do with it.
Well, I mean, but if you drink enough, you get to the suave me again. You just gotta keep getting to.
It was actually a broomstick that he was walking out with. He was like, "I told you I was gonna land it." Killing it,
exactly. Garrett knows.
Travis,
but I am back. My internet is working. I have updated everything, shut down everything.
I thought you went to Best Buy and bought a new router
just to tell you off.
I got to admit, whenever you were going off on him and whatever you said, it was every third word, and it was a great curse word. And we were like, man, that must be the best.
It made it so much better, bro.
Yeah, exactly. We were like, man, this would have been great if we could have heard the whole thing.
So good. So good.
Travis, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor on this one real quick. Let us know.
Travis, we're ready for
you.
Who you are, what you do, and where to find you. I mean, we got to start this thing all over now.
Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. I'm just getting here. That's what Orange Cone is all about. We're an Orange Cone. We're caution. Pay attention. There's probably a pothole you should have paid attention to. That's why the Orange Cone is there. But, slow down. But yeah, I'm Travis Gibb. I run Orange Cone Productions. It's a publisher, me and my wife. So we do a bunch of books on Kickstarter. We do a whole bunch in the direct market now, as well as books for comic stores and lawyers. We do all sorts of cool stuff.
Very cool. Now I'm going to kind of go straight into it with the question for you on this one, Tom. I'm not skipping you completely on this, but I need to make sure I get his question in before he freezes again. I don't think Garrett could take much more laughing over there. He's probably going to pass out from all the laughing he's already done.
Garrett and I have gone for beers at every con we've ever seen each other. Have yet to gone for beers.
Nice. There you go. And again, you're trying to, be the one who gets to take home.
I'm just trying to take Garrett home, and he knows. He feels it. Garrett, you're muted. Your jokes are not landing because you're muted.
Listen, there was talks of people taking me home, so come on. Let's wrap it up here.
I'll be doing whatnot shows from my hotel room with Garrett.
Oh, wow.
I think those are a different kind of show, Travis.
Different platform.
You can buy anything on Whatnot until they cancel.
I was going to say, all you got to do is go live on Whatnot with it, and it'll be fun.
Oh, man. Well, Travis, go ahead and let us know that what it is with Orange Cone that you work with over there. We're talking about the evolution, within your publishing company and the stuff that you worked on. I know that you started out, you had some titles that came out that started kind of slow getting out there. They got more of a following, and now you're up to today where you have like Coins of Judas is actually, in the comic book stores. You're more than excited about those being in Diamond and showing that off. And I can definitely see the excitement in all of your posts on that. Let us know what it is about the evolution process in listening to the people who are, backing these and doing everything that you've actually gotten to the point where you are now with the publication company.
Yeah, so Orange Cone is 5 years old now. So we've been doing stuff for a little bit and trying to figure it out. My whole goal when I started was just me, and I wanted to do books. Basically, my goal was to complete a whole bunch of books and then send them off to publishers, and then I'd be rich and famous, right? So it was going to be super simple. Just make a few trades and send them off, and every editor is going to hit you up, and it'll be all good. Apparently, making indie comics takes a little bit longer than that, though. It wasn't as fast as I would like. But yeah, we built over the last few years. Last year we did 6 Kickstarters, as well as 6 Kickstarters for Orange Cone directly, as well as 2 for the collective and 1 for a lawyer. So we've kind of expanded from just being a Travis publisher to being a guy we do a lot of anthologies. I do books for other companies now, from Band of Bards to Scout to like I said, a local lawyer and a comic store. We do kind of a variety of things where, we hope. My wife has put out a kid's book now. We're kind of branding and trying to go in all these different directions. This year was big for us because we're hitting the direct market. But what's kind of cool about it now is, 2023, we're in a different world. And much like Tom said earlier, because I was listening as much as I could, you don't need the direct market. It's just kind of an extra bonus, if you want to do. You don't need it anymore. I could do it all on Kickstarter, but I really wanted that direct market. I wanted to get those sales. I wanted to get my books and some stuff. So yeah, Coins of Judas has been out, and Granite State Punk is going to hit out not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday on the 29th and be launching. And then we've got another series of direct market books in October, as well as these Kickstarters and 2 more that are on this sheet.
Wow. I mean, you're staying a little busy over there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got a lot of stuff that you're working on. This shows some of the other stuff that you've worked on in the past. Like I said, leading up to that, the first way, of course, that I got to know who you were was from Broke Down and 4 Dead Bodies. Yeah. I have the entire, arc on that's done and everything. I even have the T-shirt, which I wear pretty proudly on a regular basis, to the point where it's pretty much faded out. I need to get another one from you.
Yeah.
But had a lot. That showed a lot of the passion that you put into your work with that particular series, got my attention. And I know that's how you got your footing and your foundation to move on with Orange Cone with that, leading into some of the other stuff you've done. The other main one that I want to bring up is Holiday Spirits, because that's an anthology that you work on with that too. And that kind of showed you're able to branch out and not be just a one title with one story in there. You were able to branch out, go to the anthology and make it successful on that as well. I know you want to give a shout out to your partner on that with Holiday Spirits, because he did an amazing job of putting that together and working on all that, because we talked about that on the last show too.
Yeah, well, all these books are done by Jerome. Jerome's our production manager here at stuff. So everything from Cthulhu to Expired to Granite State, Jerome is part of. Jerome Holiday Spirits is his book. We kind of co-created it together, aspects of it, but it's his book. And it's been a lot of fun, doing Kickstarter, doing stuff, but evolving. I just came out with this Cthulhu Invades Neverland. It's kind of a preview that just came out. It's so cool to just be able to put it on a website, do it. And we made over $500 on it in 2 weeks, which is really cool. Like getting books to do that, where that was like a week of Kickstarter back in the day, right? When it started, like waiting for that to happen. So it's very cool to see the evolution of all these things and being a brand that people trust and people buy everything to, being the bestseller, Coins of Judas is the bestseller for Branded Bards. Granite State Punk did really well. We did tons of retail exclusives, which is kind of rare right now. So it's very cool to see the evolution and to be where we're at now compared to where we were in the plans for the future.
Yes, absolutely. And Sean is in here now saying a virtual who's who tonight. He owns and reads books from everyone here tonight, almost everyone, because mine's coming as well. So you can make it where you own everyone's. But yes, their books are out there quite a bit. And if you're not paying attention too much online, you don't see them going across there. But for the most part, they've got their names out there. And that's why we're talking about, with publishers and what's being used on there to get your name out there. And that leads me into the last person that we're going to talk to on this. If you don't know who he is, then I don't know where you're looking on social media, because he's pretty much everywhere on there. He's known for a couple of things. Number one, he's known for she seems nice. And if you know, if you don't know, then you need to pay attention. The other thing would be Tom Hates Everything. That is a big one right there, because if you have a movie that you think is the best thing in the world, and you put it up there and you say it's the best thing in the world, but you don't really, push why it is, I can almost guarantee Tom loves Jaws for a reason, because he's like a shark out there waiting for something like that, and he latches on and he's like, you got to tell me why you love this thing.
I'll tell you why you're wrong. I'll tell you why you're wrong. That's
exactly. I made that mistake with you years back when we first started talking, and I said something about a particular movie, and you're like, but why do you like it? And I'm like, well, because it's great, and because it's this, and you're like, well, I can read the comments or the reviews on it as well. Why do you like it? And I'm like, whoa, hey, you're getting a little serious here. But Tom actually has Big Dog Inc. And like I said, if you don't know who this is, then you haven't been paying that much attention. Tom, let us know about Big Dog Inc. Like you said, 13 years that you've been doing under this brand here. No stranger to the comic industry whatsoever. No stranger to the convention, scene as well. You've been out there quite a bit with that. What is something that you've learned as far as the evolution of the brand and building from 13 years ago to today that it's really worked for you?
Always be able to go a different direction. Always. Again, like we talked about, I started this 13 years ago. The market's completely different, and you didn't really have a lot of options then. If you wanted to make comics, you had to make a comic, send it to Diamond send it to retailers, and so on and so on. That was the way. It's the only way. And it's only really recently in the last, decade that crowdfunding has become a thing. And it has allowed us to completely change the way that we make comic books. I mean, 100% different now. Now we make a comic, and it goes to the fans, the buyers, the backers. And we just skip right over the retail side of things. We like I said, we sell fewer units, but because there's no middlemen involved, our margins are higher just from what we're selling on the books for. So we can actually sustain a model where we're selling books direct to the customer, moving on to the next book. We don't have to sell 5,000 or 6,000 units to do it anymore. If we did, that would be awesome. I mean, that would be fantastic. Don't get me wrong. We'll take all the backers we can get, but crowdfunding is that difference maker now for everybody, even folks that have been established for a long time.
Exactly. And one thing that you've put out there, you just talked about, direct to market and things that I want to bring up, is because today, being National Alien Abduction Day. It's real. Trust me, it's out there. Tom finds these things about these obscure, national days that nobody really talks about, and then he makes books about them. Uh, Go ahead and let us know about this one here, because this one kind of beamed down out of nowhere
Yeah.
and is already getting a following on it.
Yeah. So basically this started a few years ago. All these publishers and creators were doing all these special day things, but it's all the normal stuff. It's like, it's Star Wars Day. Oh, it's 4th of July. Oh, it's this holidays. And I was like, everybody does the same things. So I just started looking for unique holidays to do that we could kind of absorb and potentially make a Big Dog Ink thing. And the primary one was Goth Day in 2020. May 22nd is World Goth Day. It's a real thing. And so we adopted Goth Day, and it's become a monstrous annual event for us now. And so as I did Goth Day and I saw people were enjoying it, I started to look at some of these other crazy holidays that existed. And we've done a bunch of them over the years. There's National Princess Day. There's Bikini Day. There's Shark Awareness Week. I mean, there's just all kinds of crazy crap that we've done. And so one of our fans and our good friends, Freddie Hernandez, we were talking about these days on one of these shows, and he was like, you should do like a BDI 365. And I was like, dude, you want me to release a book every day of the year? Like, that's not even sane in any capacity. And he was like, no. But if you kept doing all these days over a period of time, you could eventually have one book for for every day of the year over a period of time. And I was like, oh, I see where you're going now. That kind of clicked because we'd done so many of these days already and people were enjoying them. And I was like, yeah, I think we could do that. And so last year I started writing down lists of just insane days. And for whatever reason, Alien Abduction Day, I knew this one for a couple of years. I don't know why it stuck with me, but it did. And when I decided to go ahead and do it, this exact story came into my brain. I don't know where that came from either. Superheroes chasing down aliens in Alaska that are abducting deer. Like, what the hell is that? I don't know where that came from. But as soon as I started writing, I was like, this is super fun. It's just a little mini story, expanding the BDI universe with new characters. And this release today, it is Alien Abduction Day today. We have this on our Kickstarter. This was the interesting part about this too. We put this on the Kickstarter when we launched it 2 weeks ago. So we actually had it available prior to Alien Abduction Day, but we didn't show any of the covers. We didn't show any of the art.
Right.
We just said, it's here. If you want it, pledge for it, add it on, whatever. But on the 20th, we will show you what it looks like. Holy crap. People just started buying this thing on the campaign. Just give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. We're already well over halfway sold before we got to today. You can see we only did 75 copies of this. And then we launched the art today, and we had more people backing it and adding it on. So, and this has nothing to do with Penny for Your Soul, which is the main crux campaign right there. We're actually funding Penny for Your Soul right now. But because Alien Abduction Day happened during this campaign, I decided to just combine them and just see what the result would be. And the result's unbelievable. It's everybody's having fun with this stuff, and which is the whole point. I mean, if you're not having fun making comics and as a fan base and buyers, if you're not having fun with the comics you're buying, something's wrong. So the fact that these guys are like, yo, this is super fun. Show me what you got. I'm here to buy the sexy angels, but okay, I'll buy the alien book too. That's amazing. I love it. It's fantastic. Yeah. So even Penny for Your Soul, it's we're remastering the original book that we released 13 years ago to launch this company. The book's been out of print for about 6 years, and I just have to put this book back in print. So let's figure out how to do it. And I was like, well, we had done this similarly with Critter a couple of years ago for our 10-year anniversary. We did a hardcover remastering of Critter as a hardcover book. And I was like, well, I think we're going to do that for Penny for Your Soul. We're going to remaster this book, hardcover editions, softcover editions. Let's make it special like we did with Critter. And I went back in to read the old book to kind of figure out, like, okay, what do I need to do to fix this, to clean it up, because it's so old. And I was like, oh God, this is all terrible. Everything is terrible. Why is this so bad? And and I immediately wanted to do like a George Lucas and be like, how do I fix everything in this book? Because I don't want it to exist in this way anymore. But all I really did was go back in and just start to clean up all of the dialogue. It's going to be a much better reading experience now because I've got 13 years of writing under my belt versus 13 months, when I started writing this thing back in the day. So I'm excited to get the new version out. And again, hardcover editions with amazing art by people that I'm so lucky to work with, like Keith Garvey, and JB Netto is back to do that new cover for his version of the book. And the campaign's going bat crap crazy. We still have a week left. We're rolled over $26,000. I fully expected 25 to be our max top out. We're already at 26 with 6 days. So we'll probably land around 30,000 for this whole thing, which is just wild. And that's just 13 years of keeping the IP going, because we've done 5 volumes of Penny for Your Soul. So 5 volumes, Penny for Your Soul, Critter, Legend of Oz, Ursa Minor has 3 volumes, so on and so on and so on. Maintaining your IP's existence in the public eye. And this was all done in retail stores back in the day, as well as comic books, cons and all that kind of stuff. That's how you really can grow an IP. It's fine to come in and like do a mini series and then like, okay, well, I did that. Now I'm going to go do a different one. Now I'm going to go do a different one. But you're kind of almost starting at zero every time you do another one. You still will have carryover, of course. Someone likes what you do in this book, they'll probably follow you over to this other book to some degree. But it's not a percentage that you would expect, especially if what the books are polar opposites. So a lot of people that buy Penny for Your Soul don't buy Critter. A lot of people that buy Critter don't buy Penny for Your Soul. They're just polar opposite books. So it's an interesting little dynamic when you move from title to title and genre to genre. But yeah, this has been tremendous. And the fact that they're loving the alien abduction book, that's super bonus.
Nice. Now, I know we're running a little bit over on time. I want to tell everybody that it's not actually, I knew this was going to happen a little bit on here because I have such a great panel on here with everybody on here, but I also want to point out that technically Travis hasn't been on here for an hour. So technically we haven't even had an hour-long show. So I'm throwing that out there. One of the last questions that I want to bring up, kind of leading into the finale of the show, is this one here that Sean brought up. Question for all. What in today's market do you feel makes marketing yourself different or better than, say, 5 years ago? We're going to start off with Travis on this one. Travis, go ahead and give us your answer on this question, because I know this is a great question to go with for publishers on this.
Yeah. And it's going to sound weird coming from the publisher perspective, but I think right now we're in a branding, a creator mode. So compared to 5 years ago, where it used to be follow the book, follow the series, follow that, I think it's more follow the creator and see what they're doing. Look at like a James Tinian, like what he's doing and following the creator. Look at Garrett, how he markets. Yes, we know he's Source Point. Yes, we know there's all the stuff, but it's following the creator. And even me, a lot of people would go, oh, these are the books that Travis writes. And yes, I do have other people write some stuff, but it's follow the creator. It's a very creator world where I think if you did this 10 years ago, it would have been more build a brand around this title. This is your book. This is your thing. Make sure that be the focus. Don't worry about that. Where right now, you go to any comic store or Kickstarter. Comic stores and Kickstarters are basically the same, unified in this. They're selling books by the creators' names more than the title or the series that comes with it, more than any before than they've ever have. So I think that's what you've got to do different, and that's where we're at right now in this time frame.
That makes perfect sense with that, everything that you're saying on there. And I want to go ahead and forward that over to Garrett as well. But before you answer that, Jay wants to go ahead and ask, Garrett, how many books have you written in the time this show has started? I just want to say that I've gotten 11 notifications on my email that SourcePoint has put more books onto Global Comics. So I just want to let y'all know he's been working on that while we've been on the show. But
I have.
I'm kind of curious about that too. But
only 3 hours a day, bro. Like I gotta. Like what? This hour was a lot of writing time.
So what is your answer to that? How much is marketing really taken place,
so
differently than 5 years ago?
Fucking life of me believe that I'm agreeing with Travis, but Travis is totally right. Like that Like, the comic industry is more so now about the people than it is about what they're doing. I don't know if you know this, but like the world kind of like sucks right now. And like, I feel like people, in an effort to like have some sort of like enjoyment or positive experience in their life, latch on to creators that they like. And I think that the biggest mistake that a lot of creators make is not taking the time to like have genuine interactions with the people that buy their books. Because those people, I mean, there is people way back, the first, back to a very early book that like I would just send messages to and be like, hey man, thanks so much for the support. And like, whatever, like those people to this day buy every book I put out because they're like, yeah, you're like one of the only people that's ever like talked to me or had an interaction or given a shit that like I gave you my money for this thing. So it's true. You get a lot of people who follow the creator and not the book, not the brand. They don't care. They don't care if, the Tynans of the world are writing for Boom or Marvel or DC or, whatever the fuck. They just care that his name's on the book. Mm-hmm. because they have a trust in that creator and they know that creator is going to deliver to them an experience, or an interaction that like is going to be memorable for them. And that's like what all of us should be doing.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree on that. I completely agree. Now, let me see. Sean put something else up on here. Let me read this first. I have to screen my guest every once in a while just to make sure. But Sean put on here, interacting with fans is something no one on this panel has an issue with. All of y'all have talked to me a lot. Now, I don't know if that's a compliment or if that's like I have a restraining order in the back pocket. Yeah. I don't know how that's going with this. Yeah. But that is cool because you have to have that interaction with the fans out there and be willing to be interactive with them. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to sit there and have, day-long conversations where you can't get any work done or anything like that. No. And I know there are some people that would over abuse that, but I also know of some creators that are out there that say my number is unlisted for a reason. My, messenger is turned off, all this kind of stuff. Whenever it's crunch time, I can understand that. But other than that, it should be at least open enough to say, someone to reach out and go, hey, I really like the way that you wrote such and such, or, you know what, Coins of Judas was great. I really like how this was, and congratulations that it's in Diamond. Messages like that actually fuel creators. It doesn't hold them back by any means. It actually fuels them. So it's good that you have the interaction that's out there with that. And let me see, he said, very much a compliment. And he said, my bad for not making that clear. On these shows, you got to make it crystal clear. I'm telling you.
These guys won't fucking leave me alone.
But that kind of leads into how we're going to go ahead and close this thing out is I want to give each of y'all, time to go ahead and discuss what you have that you're working on currently right now and why people need to go ahead and get over there and find out what's going on. Now, I will tell everybody right now, I made it incredibly easy for everyone. Every one of their links that they wanted to have listed on this are in all of the feeds that are out there. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter. Go over there in the description. You will find those in there. If you have any trouble getting into anything, reach out to me or any of these creators. They will be glad to help you with this. But I made it very easy. So listen to what they have to say and then jump over there and find out what's going on. We'll start out with Scott on this one, and he's going to be talking about Bad Bug and, what his passion is and what he's going in and what kind of projects he's got that are current or coming up in the very near future and why you need to pay attention. So Scott, you got full screen first.
Oh boy. What's up, guys? Yeah, right now, Roseblood Manor, number 2. So I got a short story in there, worked on the frame narrative as well. So check that out. Periwinkle's finally done. So that'll be shipping out soon. So keep your eye out for that if you were on that Kickstarter. I'm also very excited. Just the art started for Cupid, which is kind of a pseudo sequel to Periwinkle about the titular character Cupid. So definitely keep an eye out. I'll be updating you guys on that one. And then, yeah, I'm just writing Hypergeist right now. Bobby Joe number 2. Monster World is coming out pretty soon for Bad Bug. Yeah, I think that's everything. Yeah, just keep an eye out for us.
There you go. I mean, totally bored. Got nothing going on. I got it. We're good. And wow. Yeah. In Wilkie we trust. Yes.
Love you, Jay. I love Jay.
Jay's everyone's biggest hype man. That's
your
understandable.
PayPal is
Jay
on the way.
Jay and Sean, I love Sean.
Yeah.
Well,
Jay-
Scott's putting your PayPal through right now.
yeah.
Let's go ahead and go over to Alan. You've got the full screen on this one, and let them know why they need to pay attention to what you've got going on, because you've got Bad Bug and SourcePoint that you're working with on there, and let them know why they need to follow what you got going on.
Hey, because you have nothing else better to do with your money than to back something that I'm doing. No, I have a story that's in Roseblood Manor 2, and the next big thing we have working on is Grandma Chainsaw, which is going to be launching at the beginning of April. And yeah, we just can't be more excited. And we have a lot of cool stuff also coming up with SourcePoint that we will get to reveal at a later date. And that's it. I don't want to talk anymore.
You're going to leave it on the dun? Really?
Yeah.
We're gonna do that? Oh, on the cliffhanger. Well, speaking of cliffhangers, let's go ahead and bring it over to Garrett, because he's got so many books out there with so many cliffhangers. The OCD people out there are just going nuts. That would be me. So, Garrett, you've got full screen. Let us know why we need to keep following you.
Yeah, you can follow all my stuff at Some Writer Guy on all the socials. Right now, at your local comic shop, Franklin and Ghost #1, the remastered edition is available for pre-order. SourcePoint in general has a bunch of cool stuff available this month. The final issue of Nightwalkers by Cullen Bunn is available for pre-order, and we've also got Deep Dark #2, tons of other stuff that's awesome. If you want to support Four Color Fiends, you can go to fourcolorfiends.com. We've got links there to back upcoming Kickstarters, the Murder Bukkake campaign that's coming out in April, Good Boy, Little Red Ronin, any of that stuff. But yeah, anytime you can just reach out to me on social media. I'm around.
There you go. Very cool. Now we're going to go to Mr. 15 here. And I will say this right now, he doesn't stay Mr. 15 long. I know he'll be Mr. 16 in no time. He's on the show quite often. And yes, I kind of poke fun and everything out there, but I'm doing it on purpose because I really appreciate him and other people like him who support the show as much as they do. So, Tom, you have got full screen on this. Let us know why we need to go ahead and follow Big Dog Inc. and see what's going on over that way.
So this is 13 years of Big Dog Inc. We have done 15 completely different titles. That doesn't include any of our spin-off books that we've done within our existing titles. We'll have we'll have title number 16 next year as we bring back Critter and do one of our new books called Sand and Scales. This year is all about just fun, bizarre stuff. We are doing our Penny for Your Soul remaster. Heaven versus Hell in Las Vegas. Goth Day comes up May 22nd. The BD13 anthology is in July. Myself and 2 other writers are doing an anthology with BDI characters. National Princess Day is once again November 18th. We'll be back for that. And just all kinds of fun days, including April 1st is International Pillow Fight Day. So the BDI 365 train will continue to be rolling as well.
Nice. Cannot wait for that. I love how you're coming up with the obscure things, and then you actually come up with stories for these things too, which is great. Now, Travis, we're going to give you full screen on this. Let them know why they need to pay attention to Orange Cone over there and make sure they don't blink, because y'all have got a ton of stuff that you're working on as well.
Well, first off, I don't think National Pillow Day was that hard for Tom. I'm going to be honest. So don't give him a lot of credit there. You know, the abduction's actually more surprising to me than the pillow fight. But I've got tons of stuff. Right now, I have a Kickstarter live for Tales of the Collective. It's for Comic Store in Orlando. Basically, what we did is we took 4 Kickstarter properties: Water Wars 2020 88, Immortal Error. We took Lich in the Kitchen and Zombies Were Your Friends, Were Your Friends 2. I believe that's the title of Austin's book. Put them all together with brand new original stories, put them together for that comic store. You can back that now. Orange Cone, we kind of put that book together for them. I have nothing to do with any of the stories, but we kind of production manager of that. I have next in 2 weeks, Granite State Punk comes out. It's for its new Scout release, which is really cool. Here's one of the variant covers. There's another one, all sorts of cool stuff. That is launching. I'm very excited about that. The week after that, Friday, we're going to be at MegaCon. At MegaCon, we're going to have Expired 2 preview, because that's our next Kickstarter in April. We have Cthulhu Invades Neverland convention exclusive. The Cthulhu Invades Neverland is great in production. It's going to be coming out later this year. We've got some cool people, including Cullen Bunn, Rich Woodall, Charlie Stickney, Pat Shand, a lot of who's of comic creators in the indie community. I have basically everybody who would answer my message. Everyone but Alan, really. Alan didn't want to come for whatever reason.
Hey, leave me out of this. This is your full screen moment.
Alan didn't want to come for whatever reason. I thought it was full screen. Why? Well, don't show Alan. Like, I'm
get out of here. I don't want this crap.
Tomorrow we launch No Contest. No Contest is a book about a lawyer who is dealing with kind of a kingpin named Bruno. He's trying to get all the MMA fighters under one contract because this guy's been screwing him over. Lots of crazy stuff happens in that. So that launches tomorrow morning, No Contest number 2. So if you want to pick that up. We've got a broke down trade this year. We've got more Granite State Punk. We've got Voodoo 4. We've got another Holiday Spirits, all that stuff, plus a super secret project in October, all sorts of really cool things. So keep looking, go to the website, go to all the links that my wonderful man Phil has for you.
Awesome. And I got to say, you're one of the first guests I've ever had that have actually said, put me back on full screen. I mean, technically, I told you you'd be on for about an hour, so you have a little less than 30 minutes left if you want to go ahead and just take the rest of the time.
Yeah, just go ahead and let everyone leave. I've got to work on a script for Bad Bug. They want me to write things. They want me to do some stuff. They said Alan is just making it crappy over there, so they're like, if anybody else can come in and help out, so I'm going to help out over there.
That's fine. We'll take Alan.
Yeah.
We'll protect you.
Make sure you take his co-writer because I don't know which one's the talented one, so I'm trying to figure it out.
It's definitely not me. I got the wool pulled over everybody's eyes.
And Jay, I appreciate that. This has got to be one of the best panels I've seen. I appreciate that. I really do. I try to get some great panels going on here, not just for the fun factor, because we do have the shenanigans. We laugh a lot. We have a lot of fun. But hopefully there's a lot of information that maybe kind of resonates with some other people who are thinking about, working on some projects or looking at some things that are out there. If you're looking at, trying to get underneath the publisher, some of these guys may be some people that you reach out to and find out. If you're looking at picking up their work, that is something else that you want to do because you can get some information and some writing styles and some, get the feel for what they're looking for in some things to kind of move forward with that as well. So there's different things you can look at in there, which is awesome. It's just a matter of reaching out and doing so. And like they've said, they're all personable. You can reach out to any of these guys and none of them bark at you. I've reached out to all of them. I think
we didn't say we don't bark.
I mean, Alan kind of gets gripey every once in a while. I don't know. But I think that's a grandma side of him that comes out.
My Meemaw side.
But I want to say, everyone that is here, thank you for being here on this panel. I know we ran a little bit over than I regularly do with this. I was ready for that to happen for the most part, simply because I knew we had a lot of information. I really wanted to give you all time to talk about your projects. Now I want to go ahead and kind of point this toward the audience that's out here watching live right now and the ones who will be watching this later on. Every show, I kind of finish off with this right here, and it's very simple. There are 2 hashtags that I've been using on every one of my shows now, which I'm in the process of actually locking down. But hashtag power of the finger, Tom, the correct one. Don't do it, Tom. Use the power of the finger and hit that share button. Every one of these publishers, every one of these creators, everybody understands nobody has the financial, ability to back every single thing that's out there. I mean, it doesn't happen. Not all of us are friends with a Gates or something like that. It just doesn't happen. But it costs you absolutely nothing to go ahead and share things out. And you never know what set of eyes you may get in front. You might get in front of a Gates that's out there. You might get in front of somebody else who is like, I had no idea what I was wanting to get into, but, Grandma Chainsaw sounds great. Coins of Judas sounds amazing. What is this alien abduction book that I'm seeing here? There's different things that are out there. And if you're really twisted, you can get into the whole bukkake thing and be like, hey, here we go. If you got to say giggity after it, that's your kind of book right there. Yep. But there's all kinds of things to get out there. So use the power of the finger to increase the hashtag Voice of the Indies. The Voice of the Indies, again, was a name that was given to me by Larry Higgins of Niobe Comics. He was doing it to give me a title that I could use on my shows and everything. but I don't want to use it as a personal title. I have actually coined it as a conglomerate. The voice of the indies is everybody working together to get the voice out there in a stronger way. The indies have taken a little bit more of the field than they have in the past few years, and it's getting bigger as long as everybody kind of works together to keep that voice up there. Somebody yelling, at the top of their lungs that, Alan has the best book that's out there. Grandma Chainsaw is something that you have to watch. It can be a very, very small voice and echo quite a bit if no one else is carrying that with it. But if somebody sits back there and goes, Penny for Your Soul, 13 years, and we just remastered this thing, you got to jump on this thing, and 500 plus 1,000 people, whatever, get on there and say that's a much bigger voice. So, Power of the Finger, voice of the indies. What that all means to you is I challenge everyone, just like I do in every show, what have you done lately or what are you planning to do to increase the voice in the indies? That's not pointing to anyone and calling anybody out or anything. That's just kind of putting it out there saying you have the power to make the change yourself as well. Myself personally, what I've changed on the show as of, I think almost a month ago, is every one of my guests that come on my shows, once the show is over with, I immediately go on to any of their projects that they've got going on. Within 24 hours, I have done shares or posts for their projects that are out there. That doesn't mean that they're going to go ahead and fully fund, or Tom's going to hit, $50,000 tomorrow just because I put a post out there, but you never know. It just gets more of that voice out there. So again, that challenge is out there to everybody, but I hope y'all all enjoyed this very much and enjoyed the show. Every Monday night, I have hell of a show, and I try to keep it as interesting as I possibly can and change some things up with some different perspectives and different guests that are on there. So I hope you're all enjoying that because I'm going to keep doing this for a little while longer. I do want to say that for the months of May and June, I will have no shows that are regular on there. I have a couple of special shows, and that is it. And I mean a couple. We're talking about like 2 or 3, because I have my new book that'll be releasing in May, and then 5 days later, because I'm an idiot, I'm getting married. Not getting married, the idiot part, getting married, but for 5 days. My fiance is going to kill me when she hears this. But there's a lot going on, so I won't be doing shows that way. So just go ahead and make sure that you use the power of the finger, get the voice of the indies carried out there, and all of these publishers and anyone else that you see out there that's working their tail off to do the work and put their passion in their stuff, build them up, never tear them down. So that being said, I want to finish this off with the favorite thing I like to say on every single show: keep it indie, y'all.